What is up, guys? Clay Enjoyer here, and it's time to enjoy. And in this video, I'm making Roblox character Schlep and the Roblox CEO David Bazooka, I think. And just in the future, I don't want to make clay sculptures about drama going on the internet, but I'm only doing this because I think that this David guy is just a really bad dude, but also because I figured it was trending, even though the trend probably died when I posted this video, but it's mostly just because I felt like it, but I will try to not do stuff like this in the future. After my extensive research, Roblox characters are incredibly boxy, which means it's pretty simple to make them, and not like a humanoid-esque figure, which I've usually made in the past, which is a nice break instead of making something incredibly complicated, but I do have to make a decent attempt to actually make this thing look smooth and clean enough, because I want this to actually look like a rectangle with other rectangles for the waist and then the legs and arms eventually in the video. But I can struggle with this piece of clay now and do the same thing with it off camera, before then adding more clay onto the legs, which I did forget to do off camera, but I want to give myself a little bit of grace just because I'm starting school. Well, I've been in school, and school work has gotten in the way, so I apologize for that. But something I did not forget to add in was the feet, but then again, the feet are pretty simple, followed by the arms, which I did actually remember to make this time, but they're pretty similar to the legs, except they're just a little bit different, and they're a little bit higher on the torso. Now, I already disregarded the rule I just said 30 seconds ago, because I don't want to spend an hour smoothing these arms out, so I figured that these were close enough because I rather want to work on the head instead, because it's pretty easy and it's just a circle with a little bit of a edge, I guess, with a little bit of a wire so I can hold it, as well as providing a little bit more stability when I put the head in the body later, followed by some eye holes and a nice happy mouth, because I don't know if you guys know that, but that's what Schlep's character looks like. But I do admit that the eyes are a little bit far apart, and technically the face is painted on, or that's what it looks like, rather than actually in the face, but this is close enough. Followed by his hat, which obviously that completes the look, and I just can't wait to paint that difficult R in the middle when we get on to painting, so then I can put his hat in place and start working on David Bazooka's head. Now, even though I hate Dave Bazooka, I don't want him looking like a monkey, so I need to give him his obnoxious forehead before making his nose and his cheeks, and making his eyebrows a little bit more upturned to make it look like he's scared and frightened, because at least for the cheeks, I was experimenting and I didn't know how to do cheeks for some reason, and I actually did for the first time, so I just didn't record it. But I did record making the ears, which are even more difficult, but I don't know why I did that but not the other. But something that I did obviously do, because it's easy, is texturing the hair, which Dave Bazooka really doesn't have a whole lot of, before adding his glasses off camera, because I couldn't even hope to make those, before then giving him a exposed spinal column, because it'll make sense in the final project, because this guy is obviously, like I said in the beginning of the video, a bad guy. And this is a dramatic recreation. I say recreation like this actually happened, but more dramatic recreation as of everyone's hatred for him personified in this hand, holding his head with his spine out and the other hand off camera. Now I can start painting. With this sculpture looking pretty good so far, I can show it off, even though it's gonna look the same in about 3 seconds before I start putting paint on it, which is gonna be this very bright Tennessee orange. But I do have to tone it down a little bit, because this is not the same orange as Schlep's character, which this orange is a touch bit more accurate and a little bit less bright, because it is pretty much blinding from how bright the previous orange was, before then covering Schlep's hands and a little bit of his arms in the pinkish tan flesh color, and painting his shoes or sneakers in a very dark reddish brown, and then doing a little bit of a lighter orangey yellow to add some highlights. But it does kind of look like skin, so that's my mistake, I apologize. Before then doing a very similar color on the face to make it look like a bunch of highlights, because I don't want these characters looking flat. Something that is always a struggle is that the black that I have is pretty glossy, so I had to turn this hat into more of a brown and red instead of a black and red. But that does work out because these two shades right here make the hat and the brim look a lot better and a little bit less flat, like I said, for the entire sculpture up to this point, because I want my sculptures to look 3D instead of like a 2D picture, even though that these sculptures are always so stylized that I don't know how people would think otherwise. Before then doing the same thing for the shoes, because like I said before, details, people, details, and carefully painting the eyes and the mouth, and then I can start painting David Bazooka. And like Schlep's lightest skin color for his Roblox character, that's actually the same color that I used for Bazooka's head, followed by this bright pink for his mouth, and the same brownish black for the glasses, because I don't want to waste this paint, even though I do have a bunch, but I just figured I am lazy and this works just fine, before then covering Bazooka's hair in this ugly old person gray, which in all the pictures that I looked up, he is an old man, so this pretty much fits, followed by some lighter gray highlights to add some extra detail, and highlights, obviously, because that's what they're for, before then very carefully painting the eyes. And this is something pretty interesting, because I actually attempted it on camera instead of off camera, which is something pretty unique, because for some reason I just don't do that, followed by painting the spinal column white, but don't worry, it's gonna get dirty right now. With all of this blood around, it's supposed to be super messy, because I don't want this to look like he's been dead for a minute or so. I want it to make it look like Schlep's character, Omni-Man style, grabbed Bazooka like that. I'm not entirely sure what I was going for with this entire sculpture. Mental insanity does seem par for the course though, before then painting all of the details on his clothes, and yes, the extra dots and those two random lines are part of the fit, before then painting the bloody bits and the eyes in a gloss varnish, because I want them to look extra shiny and gross, before then showing them off to the camera. But don't worry, we're not done, because we need to make a base. And luckily for us, the base was a previous thing that I made from a different project. Because it didn't work out, I had to use it for something else. But this project will work out for it, because it's small and it fits the size, and I can cover the board in this sandpaper to make it look like a road, before then painting the sides black like every single base I've done before, and then brushing it with a bunch of grays and light grays, primarily in one direction, because I want this to look like a dirty road, because I don't know, I guess I was still going on the Omni-Man and Invincible thing, and it's not a subway, but a road's close enough. And with a little bit of blood added to the base to make it extra gruesome, it's on to the reveal. Oh wait, actually, hold on. There's just a little crumpled of cease and desist that I want to add under Schlep's foot, because I imagine Schlep really doesn't like that. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more hating of CEOs content in the future. Or not. We'll see whatever trends go up maybe. I'm not entirely sure, but I was thinking maybe doing some Smash Bros. Characters. Or all of them. I don't know. See you in the next video. Bye.